we've established that the ghost does in fact exist. We have 3 eyewitnesses that have seen it, this thing, this apparition. None of them have called it King Hamlet yet, but they're convinced that it's important enough that they need to tell Hamlet about it, and that Hamlet needs to come see for himself. So we skip to Act 1, Scene 5. Enter the ghost and Hamlet. Hamlet, whither wilt thou lead me? I'll go no further. Ghost, mark me, I will. My hour is almost come when I do to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. To sulphurous and tormenting flames. Remember, Horatio and Marcellus wondered, well, what kind of spirit is this? It could be an evil demon disguised as the good king. We don't know, but here the ghost himself says, I must return to sulphurous and tormenting flames. That sounds rather ominous. Hamlet, alas, poor ghost. Ghost, pity not me, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, I am bound to hear. Ghost, so art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear. What? I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and by day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul. It's clear he's returned to at least some kind of purgatory, because his sins have not been cleared. Why is that? Why is he telling Hamlet this? But he says, I can't tell you exactly where I have to go, because it is forbidden. I may not speak of it. But he does say, list, oh list, if thou didst thy dear father love, and oh God, implying of course I did. Ghost, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
I'll show you foul murder.
Ay, Dios mío, mujer. I said foul. F-O-U-L, not F-O-W-L. Oh, what are you thinking, stupida? Please stop choking that poor chicken.
You know all about choking that chicken.
Hey, can we just stick with the matter at hand?
Was that a Freudian slip?
Dumkov.
I smell smoke.
First mention of the word murder in the play. Goes, murder most foul, and is best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural. Hamlet, haste me to know it, that I may with wings as swift as meditation or thoughts of love may sweep to my revenge. That's his vow. He says, if this is true, if you were murdered, I won't hesitate. I will take care of this. I will avenge your murder. Well, interesting promise Hamlet makes, because he does not deliver and cannot. Why? In fact, 4 months go by before the ghost has to reappear and say, remember me? In other words, what's wrong with you? You vowed to sweep to your revenge and you've done nothing. Well, let's see what's happening here. The ghost, I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than a fat weed that roots itself on Leith Wharf. Remember, Leith is the river of forgetfulness in the underworld. So the king is saying, don't root yourself like a fat weed at the banks of the river Leith and forget me. And interesting, those will be his last words that he says as well. He says, now, Hamlet, hear. 'Tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent did sting me. So the whole of Denmark is forged by a process of death, rankly abused. But know thou, noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears its crown. The serpent's very important here, but of course the word on the street is that the king died. He was bit by a venomous snake while sleeping in his garden. But he's saying that story is not true. Listen to me. He says, and the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown. And Hamlet responds, oh, my prophetic soul. He intuitively knew that something wasn't right. He knew the story of his father's death could not be right. And here he's saying, oh, I knew it. I knew I was right. Ghost. I, thou incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, traitorous gifts, and wicked gifted gifts, that have the power to seduce one to a shameful lust, the will of that most seeming virtuous queen. And there's our word seeming again. She seems to be a virtuous queen. The king is saying, no, she's not. She's not what she seems to be. And she is not virtuous. Then he goes to compare himself to his brother. O Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was that of dignity, that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage. And now to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue as it never was will be moved, though lewdness court in the shape of heaven, so lust, though so radiant and angel-linked, will sate itself on a celestial bed and prey on garbage. That's what your uncle has done. And your mother. Breaking the monologue. But soft, methinks I scent morning air, brief let me be. He says, here's the true story. Sleeping within my orchard, my custom always being the afternoon, upon my secure hour, thy uncle stole, with juice of cursed Hibona in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour this leprous distilment, whose effect holds such enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor it doth posset and curd, like eager droppings into milk, but then in wholesome blood. So did it mine, and a most instant tether barked about, most lazar-like, with a vile and loathsome crust all my smooth body. This poison curdled my blood, literally, and made my skin burst out into scaly, leopard-like skin. It was miserable death. So, thus was I, sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched. Remember those three things, and remember the order in which the king says them. Thus was I sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, he murdered me, of crown, he's now the king, and of queen, at once dispatched. Claudius took all three of those things from me. Cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, unhoused, disappointed, unanelled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. He didn't have time for last rites. That gives a reason that he might be in purgatory with these flames. He hasn't been absolved yet. And it's not his fault. He was murdered. Of course he didn't have time for last rites. Hamlet, oh horrible, most horrible ghost. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest the act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. That's an interesting line. A couple of things packed in here. He says, however you pursue, he said, I want you to avenge my death, but however you pursue it, taint not thy mind. Don't let it disturb you. Don't get out of balance. Keep your composure. Now, recall that everybody else in this play thinks that Hamlet is crazy. Is this where it begins? Does this drive him mad? Or is he just following his father's orders and saying, I will not let my mind be tainted? In fact, Hamlet will say, as we'll see, I will think of nothing else, but you're avenging your death. And nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Why? Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. You don't judge her. Go get Claudius. He's not even worthy of consideration by heaven. But your mother, I want those sins to prick at her soul. You leave her to God's judgment. Don't touch her. And he says, fare thee well. At once the glowworm shows the mountain to be near and begins to pale its ineffectual fire. Adieu, adieu. Remember me. Important line. His last word to the prince. He comes back in Act 3, Scene 4, line 110. Says, what, have you forgotten me? So this is an important line because how Hamlet reacts to this. The king has said, remember me, Hamlet. O all you hosts of heaven, O earth, what else shall couple hell? O fie, hold my heart, and you, my sinews now grow instant cold. Bear me up stiffly, remember thee. I, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe, remember thee. Rhetorical question. All right, he says distracted globe. Why would he use that phrase? Globe meaning head here, of course. Is he distracted by the news he's just heard? To have a distracted globe, certainly in Elizabethan times, could also mean you're not right in the head. You know, he's distracted, he's crazy, he's off his head, right? So, what's going on here? Rhetorical question. Remember thee. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms of present past, the youth and observation upon thee, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Nothing else will matter. This is all I will think about. This is all that matters to me. I will remember you. I will avenge your death. And then he says, yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman, O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain. Interesting, he mentions his mother first. O most pernicious woman. Then, Claudius, O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain. Interesting, why is that? So he then writes the promise, the vow that he will sworn, adieu, adieu, remember. Now, Marcellus, Horatio enter. Hamlet's acting rather agitated, wander around the ramparts. They reel him in like a falcon and question him. And Horatio says, these are but wild and whirling words, my lord. And what's wrong with you? What are you talking about? Hamlet, I'm sorry they offended you heartily. Yea, faith, heartily. Horatio, there's no offense, my lord. Hamlet, yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Interesting. Now, why would Hamlet, and Shakespeare, of course, is perfectly aware of this, why would Hamlet in a Protestant country swear by St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, famous for the miracle of chasing the snakes out of Ireland? Okay, remember, King Hamlet reputedly was stung by a snake. But Patrick, I think I was at St. Patrick. St. Patrick is not only the patron saint of Ireland, but the saint of blunders and confusion. So what is Hamlet swearing to here? Touching this vision here, still speaking to Horatio, it is an honest ghost, that let me tell you. So Hamlet, at least, though Horatio and Marcellus and others may not be, Hamlet's convinced this is an honest ghost. This is his father's spirit he saw. Is an honest ghost, that let me tell you. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars, soldiers, give me one poor request. Horatio, what is it, my lord? We will. Never make known what you have seen tonight. That's an important promise. Why is Hamlet so insistent that they promise that they will never reveal what happened tonight? Let's see what he says. He makes them swear it. The ghost cries out at the stage, swear it. Propose the oath, my lord. Hamlet, never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword. The ghost, swear. Hic ec ubique.
Is he speaking in tongue? I'm somebody so I guess so.
Here and everywhere. Then we'll shift our ground, come hither, gentlemen, and lay our hands again upon my sword. So he's running around the parapets here, making them swear here on his sword, and swear over here on his sword, and swear over here on his sword. He wants to make certain they understand how important this is. Horatio, O day, O night, but this is wondrous strange. Hamlet, the famous line, and therefore, as stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come, as before. So, help your memory. However strange or odd soe'er I bear myself, as perchance hereafter I shall think to put on an antic disposition on, that you at such time seeing me never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or with head shake, or by pronouncing some doubtful phrase, or if list thee, or if thee, or such ambiguous giving out to none that you know aught of me. Swear you will not tell what you have seen tonight. Doesn't matter how odd I behave in the future. Don't question it. Don't question me. Don't tell anyone what we've seen here tonight. The ghost makes him swear again. Hamlet ends the scene. Rest, rest, thou perturbed spirit. Turns to Horatio. So, gentlemen, with all my love I commend me to you, and what so poor man as Hamlet is, may to express his love and friendship to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still your fingers upon your lips. I pray, the time is out of joint, O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Now come together. Something's rotten in the state of Denmark. Let's see what that is. If you found this presentation informative and or entertaining, you know we can't do it without you, so please click the subscribe button below.